Hello, weird and wonderful people. My name is Malachi Frost, and this is a rapid-fire Q&A. Now, I say rapid-fire because if you've watched previous Q&A videos, I tend to get distracted and waffle on and not really answer the question because I forget what the question was because I talk too much. So this time I'm going to try and be really succinct and just answer the questions, get in, get out, get through this. First question came from Instagram and is quite simply, are you going to get a new Batman hat? What are you trying to say? You think I need a new hat? What's wrong with my hat? It's okay, it's a little faded, sure, it's a bit scrappy, but it's a good hat. Yes, I do need a new Batman hat, and I do want a new Batman hat, but the problem I have is the last two hats I've bought have both been from the same little shop in Amsterdam that for some reason I've decided that every time I go there, I'm going to buy a new Batman hat. With what's going on in the world right now, it could be a while before I get back to Amsterdam, so my next Batman hat might be from a different shop. Now, that might not sound like a problem to you, but I really like that shop. But yeah, I do need a new Batman hat. Wifey's been telling me I need to at least re-dye it black. Speaking of re-dyeing, should probably get onto the hair a little bit. I do need to re-dye it black. It is getting a bit old looking and a bit stained under here. So yes, I will be getting a new Batman hat. Second question is quite interesting. It comes from Discord, which is, can you tell the quality of a sword just by tasting it? Yeah, you can tell the quality of the sword, what the sword is made of, how long the sword's going to last, a whole bunch of stuff just by tasting it, and by a few other little tricks that you pick up over time. But addressing the taste first. So doing a sword taste test is something that I do quite often. If you go into sword shops and just say, hey, look, I'm a sword swallower. If I'm buying a sword here, it is to be swallowed. And because of that, I need to taste test it. I need to know how the metal reacts, what the metal's made of, what kind of metal it is, all that kind of stuff. Some places will just straight out say no, which is fair enough. It's disgusting. But some places will let you because they think it's hilarious that you want to taste test the swords. And you do that simply just by holding the tip of the sword to your tongue for 3 seconds. And you'll be able to tell in that time how it's going to go down, what you're looking for. And you can do this at home, not with swords. Very important to clarify that. But you can get different pieces of metals. So try and find a piece of stainless steel. It's like a spoon. Generally, they're stainless steel. A piece of regular steel, a piece of galvanized steel, a piece of iron, a piece of aluminium. Try and find like different types of metal and hold them to your tongue for 3 or 4 seconds. Obviously, in this day and age, sterilize them first. Don't just go licking railings. That's stupid, and I'm not condoning that. But hold it to your tongue, and you'll feel different reactions. It'll be fizzy, or it'll taste sour, or it'll taste acidic. What that is it is the metal oxidizing. It is the metal beginning to rust. The tinglier it is, the bubblier it feels, the quicker that sword is going to rust. The quicker it rusts, the more likely it is to get rough, and you can cause damage. The more you're going to have to clean it. The heavier the metal's going to be, all sorts of stuff that come into it. But yeah, you can tell not so much the quality of a blade, but what the blade is made of, simply by taste. You can also feel it by weight. Some metals, you'll get the same exact size metal, will be so much heavier than like iron to stainless steel, for example, and that can really come into play as well. Next question is kind of a two-part question. I'm going to very quickly say, if you don't know who I am or what I do outside of the YouTube channel and Twitch and gaming, is I'm a professional traveling circus sideshow performer. I'm a sword swallower, juggler, escapologist, magician, whatever you want to call it. That's what I do. That's my job for the last 12 years. So the question that's been coming up a lot is now hold your breath and block your ears and get ready. YouTube's going to hate this. How has COVID-19 affected me? How is it affecting? How is isolation affecting my business? How is it affecting my shows? I'm going to be brutally honest. My world got flipped upside down overnight, as did all of my performing friends. I was in the middle of a tour. We were on our way down to the first town, Margaret River, in Western Australia, to do shows there for the weekend, and then we're going to go down to the next town and do shows and travel around and doing shows in smaller places that don't get to see it a lot. This was the inaugural tour for Southwest Busker Fest, and it meant a lot to the organizers and it meant a lot to us doing it. We're on our way to the first town, listening to the radio when shit hit the fan, and it got announced that this was on a Friday. It got announced that on the Monday, half of Australia would just begin shutting down. There's bans on gatherings, bans on being out in public. People were panic buying and buying all the toilet paper and all of this stuff. And our job is to build crowds of people in public and entertain them and make them feel comfortable standing with other people. And that was just not going to be a thing anymore. So overnight, so we got to where we were going, and we woke up the next morning. We went in to do the shows, to have a look at the where we're working and to do the shows. And the town center was packed. There was cars and people everywhere, but no one was stopping. They were running into the shops, buying whatever they could, and then getting the hell out. This was before all the restrictions had really come into play, so we did still do shows. There were people around who wanted to see the shows. This is before anything kind of kicked in, and before we even really understood what was going on. So we did do the shows. They were tiny, but they were probably the best that we could have done given the circumstances. We went back to our accommodation, and the organizers contacted the next towns we were supposed to be going to, and the rest of the tour got canceled. So what was supposed to be 2 weeks of traveling around doing shows with my mates turned into one day doing half shows and then going home. And I've now been home for quite a while. This is the longest I've been in one place in a very long time. This is this year, because obviously international travel is out. This year is going to be the first time I'm in Australia for winter in about 6 years, which is scary. My career being a traveling performer is gone. It's not gone, like it'll come back. I'll start touring and I'll start doing shows again. But for the moment, the industry that I work in is gone. And that is scary. To go from having a job and paying and an income to this is scary. So has it affected me? Yeah. I am home a lot more, which is brilliant. I get to spend more time with wifey. I'm getting to focus on YouTube and on Twitch, but it's a scary time. Now, I said this was a two-part question. Second part is, how has isolation affected me? Have I started doing anything strange or weird in isolation? When I first read this question, a few people have asked it now. When I first read it, my first impulse answer was, yes, I've started walking. And then I went, that's a weird answer to the question. So I posed it to wifey going, hey, have I started doing anything weird while being isolated? And she was like, well, you're going for a lot of walks. And so I decided that is, wifey agrees. That's the weirdest thing I've started doing in isolation. And to explain why it's weird is I have never enjoyed going for a walk, what I call going for a pointless walk. If I'm going for a walk, I want to walk from a place to a place and do a thing. I have to have a reason. Like, I don't mind walking to the shops, buying my food, and walking home versus just driving to the shops. The walking isn't the part that bothers me. It's the when you're just going around the block and then back. It's like, why? Why do we do that? I mean, yeah, sure, exercise, but we didn't gain anything. We just went for a walk. This is pointless. But I've started doing that every day. And if I don't go for a walk, I just get anxious. I just have too much pent up energy at this point. So I do. I go for a walk around the block or down a walking track and back, and I don't get anything. Sometimes I'll walk to a cafe and buy a coffee, but usually I'm just walking around in circles. And that's weird. So that's probably the weirdest thing. And the singing. Well, to be fair, I've been singing a lot around the house and running up and down the hallway in my socks, sliding. But I think I kind of was already doing that before isolation. I'm just doing it now a lot more because I'm home a lot more. But a lot of singing, a lot of running around in my socks and sliding, and then going for walks has been I am such a boring person. That's my idea of weird. Walking. And that does it for this round of quickfire questions. Hopefully I didn't blather on too much. If you want to ask a question, you can leave it in the comment section below. You can find us on Discord, Twitter, Instagram. Send the questions through. If you liked this video, please do leave a like on it. It helps out more than you can possibly know. Subscribe if you haven't already. But for right now, as always, Frost Squad, have a good day. Have a good life. Keep asking questions of this crazy world. And hopefully, someday soon, I'll be able to see you all down the road.